Welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be about all the books that I want to read this fall. I find that in the fall I tend to gravitate towards very specific genres like fantasy and like cozy books. I don't like scary books, I don't like horrors, but I gravitate more towards like thrillers and like fantasies and just books with like cozy, spooky fall vibes. And since I am a mood reader, I don't normally set TBRs for myself, but since this is over the span of a couple of months, I think that I can not read all of these books, but read like some of them. So I have a lot of books on this list. I don't know if I'm gonna get to all of them, but I wanted to have options for myself in case I'm in the mood for like a specific book. I can pick one from this TBR, and I'm not gonna limit myself to just reading these books in the fall. Obviously, I'm gonna read whatever I'm in the mood for, but if I want something with like the spooky, cozy fall vibes, then I will read some of these books. So I'm gonna start off with some classics. The first classic that I have on my TBR is Frankenstein. Everyone knows what Frankenstein is about. It's obviously a classic, and I've just always wanted to read this one, but I just never got around to it because classics really intimidate me. But it is pretty short. Like, it's, let me see, it's less than 200 pages, less than 300 pages, I think. Yeah, it's less than 300 pages, so this shouldn't be too bad. So I'm really excited to get to this one. Next up, I have Dracula, an iconic vampire story, spooky season, vampires. Need I say more? The Picture of Dorian Gray is one of those classics that I've been wanting to read for so long. Like, it's been on my TBR since like high school, I think, and it just sounds really interesting and I think I would really like it, and I just keep putting it off because I'm really intimidated by classics. But this is one of the shorter classics. It's like 230 something pages, so it's not too bad, and it just sounds so interesting. The back says, a story of evil, debauchery, and scandal. Oscar Wilde's only novel tells of Dorian Gray, a beautiful yet corrupt man. When he wishes that a perfect portrait of himself would bear the signs of aging in his place, the picture becomes his hideous secret, as it follows Dorian's own downward spiral into cruelty and depravity. Like, that just sounds so interesting, so I really want to read this one, and I think I'd really enjoy it, so I'm really excited to get to this one. The last classic on my TBR is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I actually watched the movie for this one in high school as part of my literature and film class, and I think I remember really enjoying it because I've been wanting to read the book for so long. Like, it's been on my TBR for ages, so I think I really enjoyed the movie, so I'm really interested to see how it compares to the source material. And I just love this cover. Like, I made sure that I got this cover and this edition because it's just so pretty. Like, I don't like the other cover. I don't remember what it looks like, but I just remember it was really ugly. But this cover is so pretty. And also, if you're curious, these classics, like these editions, are the Penguin English Library editions, and the spines are so bright and colorful, and they each have different covers, and they're just so cute. So I really enjoy those editions, and this edition of Rebecca is the Virago Modern Classics, in case you're curious. So those are all of the classics on my TBR, and now we're getting into just the general fiction section because these aren't in any particular category except for the classics. But first up in my general fiction TBR, I guess, is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I have been wanting to read this book for like centuries at this point, honestly, because it just sounds so interesting. I know that it's not like superheroes. Maybe they're kind of like superheroes, but it's like good and evil, and I just think it sounds so interesting. Like, I don't fully know the premise, but I just know that all of the reviews that I've read about it and like watched have been just raving about this book, so I don't want to know too much about it, but I just feel like I'm really gonna enjoy it because generally I like V.E. Schwab stuff. Addie LaRue was a miss for me, but I really like the first 2 books of the Shades of Magic series, so I just think I'm really gonna enjoy this one. And it has like morally great characters, and I just think it's gonna be a really interesting book, so I'm really excited to finally dive into this one. Next up, I have a couple of books by R.F. Kuang. The first one is The Dragon Republic. This is the second book of the Poppy War series. Everyone's read this series. I don't know why I'm explaining it, but this is the second book of the Poppy War series, and I read the first book last year and I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. I remember really enjoying the world building and the characters were so fascinating, and I've just heard so many good things about this series, and I've heard so many people say that it just gets better and better every single book, and that the 3rd book is like devastating. So I'm a little bit scared but very excited, and I'm a little bit intimidated because this book is kind of heavy and it's 650 pages. Okay, so this is over 600 pages. This is probably going to be the longest book that I've read in my entire life, but I'm very excited to continue with this series and then hopefully eventually move on to the 3rd book, which I'm very scared for just because of everything that I've heard. But I'm really excited to continue this series. And then I also have Babel, which is her newest release. Is it Babel or Babel? I think I'm gonna say Babel because that's just how it rolls off my tongue more, but yeah, I've just heard so many good things about this book. It just sounds so interesting. It's like a dark academia with commentary on like colonialism and race and class, and I just think it's gonna be so interesting. Like, where's the, oh, here's that amazing quote that's on like the synopsis. It says, "Can powerful institutions be changed from within, or does revolution always require violence?" Like, it just sounds so interesting, and this is also a massive book. I didn't realize how massive it was. Oh, it's only like it's like 540 something pages. Why did I think it was longer than the Dragon Republic? Whatever, but yeah, I'm really excited to get this one. I've heard many good things about it, and I just love R.F. Kuang's writing, and her world and her characters always just so fascinating. And my copy is actually signed because I pre-ordered it from the Harvard bookstore, and it comes with these character cards, and then on the back it has like the Babel Tower, which I think is so cool. So yes, I am very excited to get into more of R.F. Kuang's works. Next up, I have Ninth House by, I almost said V. No, by Leigh Bardugo. And I've also been wanting to read this book for so long. I just keep putting it off because it seems kind of intimidating, because it's like an adult, dark academia, like fantasy type story, but it just sounds so fascinating. And the 2nd book comes out in January, so I kind of want to read this closer to like November or December, just so it's fresh in my mind for when the 2nd book comes out. But yeah, I've been wanting to read this for so long. I don't know why I haven't. I have heard mixed things about it. People either love it or hate it. So I'm very interested to see where I stand with this one. And then I have Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I've been wanting to read this book for so long. Just like with all of these books, I'm trying to make my way through my physical TBR, and this is one of the ways I'm going to be doing that. It just sounds like it's going to be so fun and so interesting. It's a middle grade fantasy, and I don't really know too much about it, but with fantasy books, I don't really want to know too much, but I just think it's going to be really fun. And I think the 2nd book came out this year, or it's coming out this year, I think. I don't know why I'm looking in the book as if it says it, but yeah, I think the 2nd book comes out in October if I'm not mistaken, so I think that will be the perfect time to start this series, and then I can immediately jump into the second book. So yeah, that is Amari and the Night Brothers. And then oh, this is this is like a cult classic, iconic thriller, iconic movie, and that is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I don't know why I keep putting off reading this. I think maybe because I'm scared that I'm not gonna like it as much as I think I am, but I've just heard so many good things about this book and about the movie also, which I have not watched because I want to read the book first. I've just heard so many good things about this book, and I really think I'm gonna enjoy it, so I just need to finally get over my fear of possibly not enjoying it and just finally read it so I can watch the movie, because I've heard so many good things about the movie also, and I just think it's gonna be so fun. So Gone Girl is on my TBR. Hopefully I actually read it because it's been on my TBR for ages. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake is a book that I've also been wanting to read for ages, and I have the original self-published edition because my boyfriend bought it for me when I told him that it's getting traditionally published and that I wanted to have this original version with the original illustrations, so he bought it for me, and I just love this cover and the illustrations. Like, the character drawings are so beautiful. If I can find one. I literally saw one like 2 seconds ago before I started talking about it. Okay, now is when I'm not gonna be able to find it. Okay, cool. Okay, here we go. Like, stunning. And there's another stunning one in the beginning. Look how stunning. Is there another one maybe? Is there only 2? Oh, here's another one. Just so good. I don't know if the traditionally published version also has the original drawings. Oh, here's another one. Just so cool. So yeah, I don't fully know what this is about. I know it's about like the Alexandrian society, and that's pretty much it. The second to last book on my TBR is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I don't really know what this is about. I just know that it takes place in New Orleans in the 1800s. I don't know why I said it like that. In the 1800s. And that it follows like witches and vampires, and there's like a serial killer on the loose. And just everything about that really gives me the originals vibes, and if this is gonna be anything like the originals, like atmosphere wise, I think I'm really gonna enjoy it, because the originals is one of my favorite shows. Like, the characters and just the vibes and everything is just immaculate. So if this is anything like that, I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. And I, once again, don't really know what it's about, but I think it's gonna be really fun. And then the last book on my TBR is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. I know that A Clockwork Reader has been raving about this book. It's one of her new favorites, and it's inspired by Hungarian history and Jewish mythology. This unforgettable debut follows a young pagan woman with hidden powers and a one-eyed captain of the woodsmen as they form an unlikely alliance to thwart a tyrant. Sounds so interesting. Those are all of the books on my TBR. Let me know in the comments below what books you have on your fall TBR, and what books should I add to my fall TBR, because I am always looking for new books to read. The fall time is just like the perfect reading time. Like, it's nice and cozy. It's not very like cold because I live in like Miami, but in my head I have like the fall cozy vibes. Like, my bookshelves are decorated for fall, and I'm just really trying to embrace like the fall season, even though I live in Miami. But yeah, so that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.